Okay, here. Okay, so for this session here, we're going to talk about how to prepare and share Webi data into Excel, leveraging Odata. So that part will be presented by Gregory. And then at the end, we will also be showing how to go from Webi to Power BI with JF Caron. So the reason we were wanting to present on this topic today is very simple. Is we see there's a lot of traction from all our customers and all the community with, of course, BobJ, and then people, organizations in general have 3 to 5 BI tools. Actually, funny enough, I think last week I had a customer I've seen who had like 12 or 13 different BI tools, which is kind of amazing on that. And, people want to leverage different solutions for different needs. So we felt that was something that was very important to emphasize on today. So Gregory, I'll pass it over to you. And if you can take again the screen share.
Of course. Okay, I will stop the
We
presenting
see your
mode.
screen. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So let's go inside Web Intelligence. Okay, cancel. I have to log in again. Apologize. Can you all see my screen now?
We see your screen.
Okay, let me make it full screen. Okay, for this demo, it will be a short demo of the Webi data preparation mode and how can you share your content with Excel. So for the matter of this demo, I'm going to open a Web Intelligence document, and I think I have already one open. Let me.
So Gregory, since when is Odata available, first of all?
Sharing a
With,
Web
yeah.
Intelligence document, or not a document, sharing Web Intelligence information as an OData flow has been introduced, if I'm right, starting BI 4.3 Service Pack 3, 2 or 3, but for sure Service Pack 3. Okay. So since then, we introduce an easy way to reuse the data contained into Web Intelligence document, all your existing Web Intelligence document, with any tool having an OData provider, Excel being one of them, right? There is some others on the market, you know them. But let's start. I'm going to open my data mode original Webi document, just to explain why this is pretty.
Ouais, je suis en mute. Okay.
Am I on mute? Do you hear me?
No, we hear you. We can hear you. We just heard Jeff. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is the Webi document. But let's start. I will start with a new data mode. For those of you who are new with Web Intelligence, starting for the SP3, we introduce a new data mode. What is a data mode? Okay, not this one. Because, sorry, it should have been another one. Let me reopen another one. Cancel. Apologize for that. Favorite, not personal. Here we go. This org v11, this one. Because otherwise, when I show you what contain already all the transformation. So here I have a Webi document with one tab per data provider, right? What I want to show you is the data mode. So data mode is one additional entry that you saw here by in data mode here that proposes this new interface. This interface is divided in 3 parts. The first one is preview. Preview mode lets you preview your data. It's not, in fact, this is not a preview because you can see all the data that you have that you brought into Web Intelligence, right? You can view as a table, or you can use the Explore view. Sorry, the exploration view this way, where you can see all occurrence for every value contained, for example, in the year dimension. In the year dimension, year 2017, you have 769 rows. It's a count, and you can decide to display this ascending, descending, or to aggregate by account or by sales revenue if you want. So in one shot, you can see this kind of information. So that's pretty interesting, and you can do this for every individual dimension. You can preview, you can sort, you can do, if I leave the exploration mode, you can transform your data thanks to one-click transformation, uppercase transform in uppercase, lowercase, replace, right? And you can do this for all data sources. For example, query 1 is based on a universe. Query 2 here, displayed here, is based on an HANA data source, but it can be any SAP ERP. Query 3 is based on Excel, and query 4 is based on a text file. So no matter the data source is, you can preview, explore, transform your data in one click. For example, how does it work? Query 1, I can replace year 2027. So I used to type it, year dot 20. Often I want to replace year dot by empty. Done. And this is done not on the data source, but in the Webi microcube, in the Webi Tangents document. So that's really easy to do this kind of transformation. Create 2, I can do it in exactly the same way, replace year dot by something else, empty field, in order to align the year dimension in query 1 and query 2. Query 3, what do we want to do? Query 3 contains SKU number, and in query 4, I have SKU number, and that's it. Rather than SKU 3, I have SKU number, SKU description. So this let me introduce the meaning of the area number 2, which is a flow transformation, where I can take query 1 and query 2 and say join. And here you have a lot of join operator at your disposal. So that's why you position the data mode as an alternative to the Webi multi-source universe. Now you can have individual relational universe, and you can decide to combine them directly into Webi Tangents to create something. So my first transformation I will do is an append cube. So I will take the cube number 1 and add all the data to the query number 2. Create. And that's it. I've created a virtual cube containing all the data of the cube number 1 and cube number 2. For query 3 and 4, what I want to do, I want to join them, but really join them, because in query 1, query 3, I have SKU number and SKU description, and in query 4, I have SKU number only. So what I want to do a left join by using the SKU number. Create, and that's it. What I've created another virtual cube. And the beauty of that is every time I created a virtual cube in green, I can preview the result in the preview area at the top. So like this, I can test and try. And if what I've created as part of virtual cube is not what I was thinking I would have get, or is not what I need, you can easily edit it and redo your step easily. Same thing for the join, the real join, right? Here I have SKU number and SKU description. And at the beginning, query 3 and query 4, I did not have this. And this is a game changer, because every transformation flow can be pre-visualized. You do not have to wait the execution, the runtime, to view this in your Web Tangents document. Not only can you create virtual cube, but every time you create a virtual cube, you can choose to display them to your business user, or you can decide to hide them. For example, if I want to hide all the objects contained in query 3, I just to click hide. Same thing for query 4, hide, and that's it. And you see, we add the corresponding icon here to mention that. Why are we doing this? Because when you will leave the data mode, do you want to display all the objects and redundant objects to your business users? The answer can be yes, sometime I might want, but most of the time you do not want. So that's the reason why you have this hide option here. Because now if I leave the data mode for the design mode, as you can see, what is displayed as available objects correspond to what I choose to be displayed in the data mode. Query 3 objects and query 4 objects are hidden. To convince you again, I move to data mode. I choose, for example, the query 2. I'm going to hide. And all the objects below contained in the query 2 will be hidden, but they will be displayed as part of this virtual queue, which is query 2 plus query 1. You can rename this, right? And here we go. Design mode. Again, query 2 objects are hidden. So this is really powerful. You can decide now what, as part of your data transformation, data synchronization flow, what you would like to expose to your business users. And you can use Webi to prepare your data. Once you have prepared your data, you create a report with one table, with whatever you want. And there is two ways to share your data. Either you decide to select the resulted table and do right-click, copy link for Odata web service. You
Okay.
do that. That's it. And now, if you go into Excel, you can decide to do it by using data, get data, data from Odata feed, paste the URL.
So here you can prep your data, share it, leveraging Odata. And can you
Exactly.
refresh it after?
Yes, you can. And load, and that's it. Now the data coming from Webi, from the table or from the data mode are part of Excel.
That's really nice.
And and if you hit the refresh button here, right here, there is a refresh button. Guess what? With Service Pack 4
Yep.
plan end of this year, there is an option to generate a cascading refresh, which means that if you hit the refresh, it means that get the data from the latest Web Intelligence version, from the latest Web Intelligence instance, and that's it. But starting SP4, there is one additional parameter that you could use, that if you use it, if you hit the refresh, you will force the Web Intelligence document to refresh before getting the data into Excel, for instance. That's what I mean by
Okay.
cascading refresh.
Okay. So just to be clear on that. So from 4.3 SP4. So in the past with 4.3 SP3, you have OData, you've got the connectivity, and essentially you would create the connectivity, it would just query the Webby. That's it.
Exactly. And the data in the Webby document.
Yes, of course. And then now with SP4,
SP4,
you're able to click here, click where, on the right, and you're able to refresh essentially the data.
exactly. So you are forcing the Web Intelligence document to be refreshed
At the
before
same time.
getting, yes, at the same time, before getting the data into your favorite.
Okay, so it's a both way. It's going to
Yes,
query it again and it's going to force the Webby to refresh. And this one is available with it's going to be
SP4.
later, but with the current SP4, or is it going to be later this year?
Sorry, SP4 is plan.
With the
No,
current
I'm saying
return.
SP4 was December last year. So
Right.
this is part of SP4. I apologize for that.
With the current SP4. So here again is you're able to refresh and then force the refresh of Webby. That's great. Thank
Okay.
you very much, Gregory. Do you have some other things to
No,
show?
no, that's all. That's all. I will stop my
Um,
demo here because I think we have more interesting things.
No, that's great. Actually, this is really very helpful, and it's awesome to see the prep mode as well, because that was actually a big business need. And as you know, the business is actually driving the investments. We have JFK on from our team as well, who prepared a demo about how to connect Webi to leveraging OData to Power BI. JF, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Bruno. And yes, it's going to be very brief because, well, it's essentially the same thing as you have seen before. But just, I wanted to bring up a few points. One of the features that people like in Power BI, which is what we're going to connect to, was the ability to manipulate data locally. And guess what? Now it's available in Web Intelligence, so you can do all of that, and I think in a much easier way within the tool itself. One of the big limitations of Power BI, of course, is that you don't have the infrastructure behind it, namely the semantic layer. And that is completely unique to business objects. I mean, business objects started 30 years ago around that very concept. And that's basically what we're looking at leveraging here. In the future, we see that we will have many of the Power BI capabilities in, or not just Power BI, but let's say dashboarding tools in Web Intelligence itself. But we're not there yet. And there's, other things that may make so that you have to use another dashboarding tool, and pretty much anything that can use an OData source can benefit from that feature in business objects. So what I have done here, and it's just for the purpose of reinforcing the point here.
We don't see your
let me
screen,
share.
Ed.
I have not shared yet. I have prepared here a little dashboard that will simply leverage well, it's one of our, can you see my screen now? One of our business objects documents, and of course I timed out, no problem, I'll log back in just to show you what my source looks like. So here, just a plain Web Intelligence document, leveraging information from 360 Eyes if you're curious. And I will open this guy here. The point here is twofold. First, Gregory showed you that you could pull information from the data mode of Web Intelligence. And here my model is much simpler than his. And granted, we can do that right here and copy the web service link from directly from the data mode. Now, this is what the URL looks like, because that's all it is. It's a URL pointing to a RESTful web service. But one other thing that I find interesting, if you want to take a slightly different approach, if you go to your design mode, it is also possible to use a block that is a table or a chart, what have you. And you can do exactly the same thing here. That is, we can copy a link to the table to use as an OData source. So I can have all sorts of calculations, aggregations in here, and use that as well, or as an alternative, as a source for my, as an OData source for my other tool. And so in this example, so I showed you that I have a data source in my Power BI. Here I have added some manipulation, but again, you could have done that at the source in Webi. And based on that, you can create, well, all the visualizations that you're accustomed to if you're familiar with the other tools. Here, I mean, this is typical dashboard style. Here we have one thing that is not quite yet available in Web Intelligence, like those sliders to an extent, but that is coming in future release, as Gregory has described. Okay, so the main takeaway here is that you have the best of both worlds. I mean, you have the whole semantic layer, or the semantic ecosystem, if I can call it that, as a source directly from data results and manipulated data results, but also from your web intelligence visualization. You can take the data straight into another tool and leverage it that way.
Thank you very much, Jeff. We have just a couple questions before we move on to the next session. First question we have is, in terms of license term, will there be anything different for BI 2025, Gregory?
No, no change. No change at all.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's good news. Any improvements on BobJ's SAP Java SDK in the new BI version, which I'm assuming it's BI 2025?
Yes, this is cumulative things. Yes, first of all, they remain there, but you have to make sure that all the new capabilities we are delivering and preparing for the BI 2025 will have an SDK version. So yes, cumulative things.
Okay, then I have another question here. One of the crystal features is scheduled to print. Is Webi ever going to have that? Actually, that's a question from Daniel.
Scheduled to print, not that I'm aware of. I don't see any plan around that. We stick to what we have today. Schedule with export to PDF, but there is a workaround, which is to monitor the content of a file. And once the folder contains something, you can generate a print.
So I have a great question from Kevin, actually here, and I'm assuming Kevin didn't answer the poll earlier. Hey, I've been managing BobJ for many years, and back in the mid 90s, I have many customers on different versions. I still have one on XIR2. Can you demo any changes under the hood of BI 2025? Any changes to the APS service, any new auditing functionality, any new monitoring functionality?
Wow.
I thought you'd enjoy that one. So
It's like a day and night, but what I would advise you is to search for the what's new in business objects, and you will find all the blogs written by a colleague, Christian Assoun, that list
yeah.
all the capabilities we delivered service pack after service pack, and you will find hundreds of new innovations, capabilities, and things that show you how different the BI 4.3, for instance, is different to XIR2.
And just on the side, we have some older versions that are still available that could support that. If you got some migration projects, we'd be more than happy to support you. And so yeah. We've got a question from Sachin asking, so for the data mode, you need more memory on the server?
The sizing guide has been updated, but I think if you want to use it a little bit, yes, not that much. Because behind the scene, once you have generated a virtual cube, the idea is you have 5 queries, but at the end you have one virtual cube containing everything. The trade-off, the increase of resources needed is not that much.
Okay. Let's say 2 last questions and then we got to move on is, hey, Gregory, you said Odata will replace LiveOffice. Will Odata be evolved to the point of allowing to retrieve Webi blocks, tables, charts from Excel or PowerPoint?
Alors,
well, as a matter of fact, that is what we just showed in the demo, right? We can get to the tables.
Yes, but there is no point in getting a table or chart as a screenshot. The data you are getting are really the data based on the written document, being a chart, a table, or the last cube or one of the cube from the data mode. You choose. And one important, if you use table or chart as a starting point for your Odata URL, this will include all your variables and custom calculations, of course.
We have another question from Kim. Is it fair to say that Odata / data prep is equivalent to Tableau prep?
It's fair, yes.
I would say it's fair, and the good thing is actually included in Bob, so you don't need to pay anything additional on that. So I've actually seen.
I'm not allowed to comment, but it's good. Thank you.
I would say it is, Kim. So, do we still have publication BI 2025?
Do we have what? Excuse me.
Do we still have publication with BI 2025?
Of course. Yeah. Yes.
And which, no worries. Last two ones, Jack. Do we have a release date for BI 2025?
December 2024, and it will be a dedicated program. It will be an ARTC with a GA end of the first quarter 2025. A customer engagement. Well, there is a specific name. I don't remember.
And last one, and then we're going to move on. For 4.3 SP7, we continue to have poor performance with Fiori. What version are you using in this demo?
In my demo, I think it was an SP4. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was BI for the SP4.
And we've heard that a couple of times before. And you expect that actually this is better in terms of performance, Gregory?
SP4 straight, no. SP4 with some patch, yes. But for SP3, I'm surprised patch 7 is not the most recent one. Things have improved with the latest. The more patch, the more the patch number is higher, I don't hear any feedback on that, but I can double check if you want for you.
Okay. Let's move on to the next session. Thank you very much, Gregory. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate
Thanks all for your time.